Hello, today is the 20th of December 2024. This is part 2 of the video I am making today because the first half was already long enough. I'm still going to just continue as if this were one video and not two different parts. So yeah, the next day basically, like I said, I woke up a bit depressed and brooding about what happened the evening before with me and mom. And yeah, I can see now reflecting on it that like my thoughts were making it very dramatic, and because I was focusing on it, it made the whole situation seem bigger and worse. Like honestly, it wasn't even that big of a deal, but the thing that was a big of a deal is that I felt like it was a big of a deal. I felt like, you know, this was bigger or could have been bigger than, yeah, it really had to be. But that day then, Dad was kind of just making a sexual joke while me and Amy were in the living room, and Dad kind of kept repeating the same joke, and I kind of looked at him and I was like, stop, like why are you doing that? And I knew he was just joking, but I didn't feel very comfortable, so I just looked at him and I was like, stop. But not in like a, you know, Dad, stop, but like not a strict way, but still hinting at him like I don't want him to continue it. But he still did continue it. Then I said to him at some point, like, stop saying that, why are you saying that? And Amy then asked like, what's going on, like what's wrong, because she noticed obviously that something was going on with me. And I said in a lower voice to her, like, it just makes me feel really uncomfortable. And Dad had heard that I was speaking to her in a lower voice, so he like turned around, he was like, what did you say? And then I just said to him, it just makes me feel really uncomfortable. And yeah, actually before that, so when I said don't say that anymore, why are you saying that, he went into the kitchen and he said it again then while he was walking into the kitchen. And that's when like Amy asked me, you know, what's going on, and I told her, and then Dad turned around and asked what I had told her. And then Amy said to him, like in a more raised voice and like dramatic as well, like, stop saying that, don't say that anymore. And he then really lost it and got really angry, and, you know, with a raised voice was like, don't get involved, this is between me and Leona. How dare you speak to me like that? Don't speak to me like that ever again. And whatever, the things that he usually honestly says. And I was just like, Dad, she's obviously just trying to protect me. So yeah, that kind of turned into a bigger drama than it needed to be. Amy then went upstairs and didn't eat with us, and Dad and I ate together, and honestly, we talked to each other normally, like we didn't hold anything against each other, but I also knew like there was some sort of tension and I was waiting for him to say something. And in the past he would have always said, don't whisper things to Amy, like just tell me if something is wrong and then I'll stop and whatever. And I was waiting for him to say that. I knew he was going to say something, and guess what, he did. And it wasn't as bad as the past because he didn't like tell me forcefully what to do. He wasn't like, don't whisper to her, why would you whisper to her and pull her into it, like this is between me and you can just stand up, you know, you can just say what you want and not go behind my back and whatever. And like that's what he would have said in the past, and made me feel again really trapped and then scared to talk to my siblings or scared to talk to my mom, when obviously I didn't feel comfortable enough to talk to him. That's why I didn't say it to him in the first place. What he just said is like, all you have to do is tell me that you don't feel comfortable, tell me that it's hurting you, and then obviously I would stop. And I was like, yeah, but like, I don't know if you would stop, because there was situations in the past where I told you, please stop, it makes me feel uncomfortable, I don't want you to say that anymore, and then you still said it, like you were kind of provoking me with it. You kept doing the same joke, or you laughed at me. He was like, yeah, but that was me in the past. You can say it to me now. And then I was like, yeah, well, I didn't know like that. I didn't know that. And he was like, well, I'm sure you can't give me one example from the recent times where I did something to you like that. When you said stop, that I still continued, or that I laughed at you. I bet you don't have an example. And I was like, yeah, like, first of all, maybe I do, but even if I don't, it still doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to react the way I just did. It still doesn't mean that I now just fully trust you're never going to laugh at me, you're never going to continue making that joke when I told you to stop, or that it's hurting me. I don't know that to 100%. And then he was like, yeah, well, you should work on that, shouldn't you? And then I was like, yeah, well, I could say the exact same thing to you. You are afraid of certain things that didn't happen to you in years. So, like, I could say the exact same thing to you. If something happened in your past but it hasn't happened in many years, doesn't mean that you're now suddenly not afraid of it anymore. It takes time and effort to change that. He was like, yeah, well, then you should keep working on it. You should keep trying. And I was like, I am trying, obviously. And like, I was like, I'm allowed to react the way I do. I'm allowed to whisper to Amy if I want to. I'm allowed to talk to whoever I want to. I don't have to tell you if I don't feel like it. Like, I'm allowed to react the way I want to. Like, what the hell? So yeah, the fact that he, pointed out once again that I need to work on myself, or I should know better, I should know he's different, whatever. Those things, once again, were like the past, even though it was different the way he said it this time. But still, in the past, he would always forcefully point out those things and make me feel extremely weak and powerless and not good enough. And like, I constantly need to live up to his expectations, or else I'm just a failure. I basically went upstairs and went into my room, and I wasn't feeling the worst, but also obviously not the best. I then grabbed the Thrive program book and wanted to help myself, read through a few things that helped me in the past, asked myself a few questions that I had written down in the notes section. And the question that I asked myself, which helped me the most, is what thought patterns are showing up in your blips? And blips are basically moments where you fall down and lose perspective of the path that you're on. And I, in that moment, was in a blip already because of the night before. So I then realized, which I already knew, that whenever I'm in a blip, it's because there's thoughts beating me up and I'm feeling not good enough. But in that moment, I really strongly noticed and realized I am absolutely, completely beating myself up the whole time, feeling so shitty about myself. And then I asked myself the question, look, these are things that Dad said to me or Mom said to me. I had some examples in my head from the past few days, and I am the one who's continuing to say that to myself. They said it, and I could have just, blocked it. They said it, that's it, not going any further. But instead, I kept repeating it to myself, and I kept believing it and telling myself that it's true, and kept using that against myself, even though I need to be on my own team. I need to stand up for myself. I need to be there for myself so that I can get better. I shouldn't go against myself. So I don't know, something in that moment clicked and happened, which brought me to tears. And I cried so hard, but I cried for quite a bit. And it was a really nice, soothing, healing crying. Like, noticing I'm the one who's constantly beating myself up right now. I am the one who's continuing those thoughts. If I would stop those thoughts, if I didn't have those thoughts in my head, I would be feeling okay. Even if they said those mean things to me, if I wouldn't continue that in my thoughts, if I wouldn't believe that in my own mind, then I wouldn't be feeling this shitty. In that moment, I noticed I have the responsibility and I have the power to change my reality and my experience. And in that moment, I stopped blaming Dad. I was still a bit honestly angry at Mom, but I stopped blaming Dad for some reason. And it's not that I then started blaming myself, but it's that I was like, I have the power to change my reality. It's not him who can change my experience. It's my own thoughts that change it. So I wasn't like waiting for him to apologize or waiting for him to say something nice to me. I was like, I am the one who changes my reality, and I'm the one who now beat myself up and, created this negative reality. So yeah, me and Amy then got ready for work, and my intention was to, because Dad was on the roof terrace and we were downstairs, so my intention was to just shout up, bye, we're going to work, and to then leave. But something inside of me was like, no, what I actually want to do is go up to him and give him a hug. And then I decided to do that. I went upstairs, and while I was going upstairs, there was a bit of fear inside of me from the past, where, first of all, there was a situation in the past, or a few, where I went back to him and said, like, I don't want to fight anymore, can we please fix this? And I don't know, we hugged, and I had so much hope and just believed, like, we're not gonna fight anymore, we're gonna figure it out, it's all gonna be okay. And then boom, everything came crashing in more than ever before. So I was afraid of that, of having this hope again and then being disappointed, and also the uncomfortable feeling. Like in the past, when I would have done something like that, afterwards or during or even before, I would have felt so uncomfortable that I felt like I couldn't handle it. Like, I can't even look at him anymore, I need to get away from him, I need to hide, I need to wear loose clothing, things like that. So I was afraid I was going to feel uncomfortable again. But while I was going upstairs having these thoughts in my head, I was like, no, it's not that I have hope, but this is gonna fix the future and not gonna let anything bad happen. It was just right now I want to do it because I realized something, and I want to just fix this for myself. I want to help myself right now. And I knew that it would have been a nice moment for him and for me, because we were both not feeling great about everything. And I was the one who was, because I realized it's my responsibility, I can change my reality, I was the one who was beating myself up, making myself feel so bad. I wanted to give him a hug and show myself. I don't know, I just wasn't blaming him anymore. I wasn't mad at him anymore. I just wanted to give him a hug. While I was going up the stairs and also had these uncomfortable feelings in my mind, in the past, I would have let them rush in and take me over. But this time I was like, it's okay. It's understandable that you're afraid, but it's okay. And then I was like, in this moment, there's nothing that I need to feel uncomfortable about. There's no need for me to feel uncomfortable right now. And that was what made the thoughts disappear. Realizing, noticing, and seeing there's nothing right now that I need to feel uncomfortable about. So I went onto the roof terrace, walked towards him, said, bye, we're leaving for work now. He immediately got up, came towards me, and he was like, yeah, have fun, bye, talking in a total normal tone, which was so different from the past as well. Then we hugged each other, and he immediately was like, I apologize for my part. I don't mean to say that you're not working on it, or that you should be better. I know that you're working on it, and it's just, I am different from the past. I'm not the same person anymore. And I said, yeah, I know, and you really have changed a lot, and you can be really proud of yourself. But it's, it's gonna take time for me to realize that. And he just said in the end, yeah, I'm, just a human too, and I feel very lonely, and I just want to be treated like a human sometimes. and he was referring to Amy shouting at him there, but like he shouted at her too, and she had a good reason to, even though she didn't mean to like shout at him, but she was protecting me, and like it was her right. And even if she did it with a raised voice, like it is her right to stand up for what she believes in. But he always has a problem with the way people say things. Like he's always so focused on the tone that they use, even though he is the worst at that. But yeah, anyway, that moment there when we hugged and, you know, he apologized, and I can't tell you how much that meant to me and how proud I was of myself. I was like, I fixed the pain I had in myself. I was brave enough to go upstairs, give him a hug. I had lovely intentions. I did this for myself, and I wasn't afraid, and I handled my thoughts, I managed my thinking, and I did what I felt was right. And I, you know, helped the both of us in that situation, because I knew both of us weren't feeling great. And just seeing how different it was from the past, and how gentle and kind he was as well, and wasn't holding things against me, and knew that, you know, it's in him as well, it's his problem. He needs to work on the way he reacts towards things, the same way we need to work, like I need to work on it, Amy does, whatever. So not blaming each other, and I felt so proud and so grateful for myself for having done that. And I turned around, went downstairs, and while I was walking down the stairs, I was just crying. I was like, oh my God, that was such a beautiful healing moment, and I'm so proud of myself. And I just saw how far I've come, how much I achieved in that single moment, like how far I've come, how much I was able to do in that moment, how much I could handle and manage, and what I decided to do, and how much I helped myself and fixed things, and was so in my own power, and proved to myself I can handle things way more than I believe I can. Like, I am much more powerful than I believe I am. And I can't even begin to describe what big of a moment this was, and how meaningful it was for me, and what I did for myself in that moment, and forgave myself, and was at one with myself, and loved myself, was so grateful. It was just amazing. So basically then I was doing good. In the evening I talked to my friend about a lot of this. We sent so many voicemails over and back to each other, and so many minute-long voicemails as well. But it was so nice. Like, I told him about this sort of drama and my thoughts about it, and he told me one of his experiences, and we talked about that, which was basically what I was experiencing. So it was so lovely, and we sent voicemails over and back until after midnight. Like, it was really, really nice. And then the next morning, which was yesterday, I was actually doing fine. I was like laughing a lot, giggling a lot. I don't know, I felt okay, even though something inside of me still felt very fragile. Like, I knew if something would have been said to me, I could easily fall back into this blip, and maybe feel like it's not that easy to get out of it, which it did not feel very easy to get out of it when I was in it a couple of days ago. And I knew that part was probably the thing that was still in relation to Mom, because there was something still unresolved, something that still really scared me. And I felt like, oh, she was seeing me as a really stupid, bad person now. And the things I said on the call, and I don't know, I felt like, oh, she probably she probably sees me as a really stupid person, or like I wasn't ready to forgive her about what she said either. And I don't know, there was still something inside of me that was very fragile and still hurt. But I was doing fine. Then though, me and Amy were sitting on the roof terrace before we went to work, just enjoying the sun a little bit. Then Dad came upstairs and he was like, yeah, I just feel like I can't eat again because of whatever, something about his emetophobia again. And I then wanted to help, but I see like, yeah, what I said probably wouldn't really have helped me either while I was going through the uncomfortable feeling phobia or whatever that was. But my intentions were good. I was trying to help him, and what I said was true, but it's hard to see that in those moments. So I said to him like, yeah, the thing is, you're not able to eat because of your thoughts, when in reality you're a human and you are physically able to eat, and you know, there's food downstairs that you're able to eat. Like every one of us is able to eat that. So in reality, it's just a choice that you need to make to either eat or not eat. And he was like, yeah, well, it's not that simple. And I was like, it really is that simple, but you know, it takes a while. It takes some time to get there and to see that. So I didn't mean it in a bad way. Maybe it could have been perceived as like I was just telling him, you know, it's not that big of a deal. That is not my intention. That was not my intention. But, you know, what I said was true. In reality, he can absolutely eat. He can make the decision, I'm going to eat. He's a human. He can eat. It's possible. Absolutely possible. And that's really how simple it is. Eat or don't eat. It's really that simple. But because of his emetophobia, obviously, it's making it much more complicated, much bigger, much more dramatic. And I understand that. But the thing is, he then said in a more raised and impatient voice, like, you don't have emetophobia, you don't know what it's like, and I'm not going to explain it again. I can't. I don't want to. So yeah, then he kind of left after a few seconds, and I sat there and tears pooled in my eyes, and I was like, wow. First of all, he always says and shows that he has got it the worst. No one has it as bad as he does. And even Amy validated that as well. When I spoke to her about it in the car while we were driving to work, she said, you know, Dad always puts himself in that position that he has it the worst. No one else understands him. He's all alone. So Amy was like, just forget about it. Don't think about it. Don't take it personally. And I mean, it was a good tip, but yeah. What I was doing on the roof terrace there was thinking how, first of all, I got hurt and offended by him saying I don't understand him, because that made me feel small, worthless, powerless, not good enough, basically. Like, I'm not able to understand him. I'm not able to do something, so I'm not good enough. I noticed how he has no idea how much I understand him, because he has no idea what I actually went through in my depression. He keeps saying he understands it, but he doesn't. And he keeps proving to me that he doesn't understand it. And this was one thing which proved to me he has no idea what I went through. Every single time he talks about his emetophobia, what his mind is doing to him, I understand it to 100%. I know exactly what that feels like, because I went through it with the uncomfortable feeling. Yes, I don't have emetophobia. That doesn't make my pain less than his. That doesn't mean I didn't have something that was super similar to it. It just means I don't have emetophobia. But I think there is a part of him that needs to feel like no one understands him, that needs to feel like he has it the worst, because then his feelings towards his emetophobia seem valid, that it's so bad, there's nothing, you know, worse in the world, it seems like it's the worst thing you could ever go through. I experienced that too. I was like, I can't imagine there's anything worse. I was like, it seems like no one went through, you know, anything worse than this. It seems like the most impossible thing to handle. And the thing is, the thing itself, emetophobia itself, isn't scary, isn't bad, whatever. It's that we feel like we can't handle it. It feels like it's the worst thing ever. And that is what is scary. And even through the Thrive program, I have learned that during those moments where it feels like, you know, you can't handle it, it's the same sort of feelings and emotions you generate when you're on the battlefield. So for emetophobias and for what I went through, it feels like you're really on the battlefield, like your life is on the line, like you cannot survive this, you cannot handle it. And yes, maybe it seems like a horrible, comparison to make, and it does, because like emetophobia, you puke and it's over, but it's not that. It's the feeling you can't handle, that you're gonna die at any moment, you're gonna disappear, like it's gonna take you over, control your life, and you're just gone. It's the feelings and the thoughts. So yeah, anyway, what Dad said brought back a lot of, thoughts once again that beat me up, that told me, yeah, maybe you really don't understand it. Maybe you didn't have it as bad. Your dad obviously thinks of you as you didn't have it as bad, and you don't understand him, and you're not good enough to understand him. So, there was those thoughts, and then feeling like, wow, he doesn't understand my pain. He doesn't understand what I went through. He doesn't see what I've been through. He doesn't see what I meant. There was this misunderstanding. There was me being alone again. There was me, not being understood. So, and that moment made my mood sink so much. And I felt so fragile again. I just fell into sort of blip again. And again, that there was sort of this feeling like, I don't know if I can handle this, if this gets stronger. And it feels like I'm kind of reliving parts of my depression, and I'm like so afraid my depression is going to happen again. And I'm afraid of going to Ireland today, literally today, having the holidays there, and I'm afraid that something big and dramatic is going to happen between me and my family, which I won't be able to handle, and then which will make a depression arise in me and make me feel so weak and powerless, like I did in my depression, like I was going to die. Like I don't want to, need to handle that. I don't want to feel like I can't handle it, and I know I'm going through a Thrive program, I'm learning it, I'm gonna be able to handle it, but still, that this feeling was in me, like, I don't know if I can handle it, if it gets stronger. It's just so scary. And I think what I've noticed yesterday evening, before I went to bed, was that I think I feel quite fragile at the moment. It's because in my subconscious mind, I'm already, processing and thinking about how mine and Amy's job here as teachers is over. After Christmas, I'm still continuing to work in my friend's school, which is just 2 hours on a Thursday, for a while until he has a different teacher. But still, mine and Amy's time as teachers here together is over. She's moving back to Ireland, so after Christmas, when I'm coming back here with Dad, I'm going to be here alone, and I'm quite afraid to be here with him alone, because first of all, I already feel quite lonely without my other family members and Akela here, and then with Amy gone as well, like me and Dad don't do stuff together. I won't be able to talk to Amy. I'm scared that something dramatic is gonna happen between me and Dad. Like, it's just, I'm quite afraid of that, and I honestly don't want to be here alone with him, but still, I'm gonna be alone most of the time, and feel alone. I don't know, I'm honestly quite upset as well how I couldn't fully enjoy my teaching path. Like the last 4 months, I was more stressed and worried than actually enjoying it, even though yes, I had moments I loved it and enjoyed it, and I honestly didn't resist the job. Like, I went to work every day when I needed to go to work, and I didn't resist it. I wasn't like, oh no, I really don't want to go, I hate going there. No, not at all. I went there with ease and I was fine, but there was still so much anxiety as well, and just so much stress and thinking so much about the job. Like, yeah, I don't know, there's some things I just regret that I couldn't enjoy it as much, and I wish I could have. And at some point I'll get there that I will be able to enjoy everything in my life and won't have these stressful thoughts. And I don't know, it's really sad, honestly, having to say goodbye to all the students and not going to work there anymore. Me and Amy not being there together anymore. Like, it's really sad, and there's a part of me which isn't really, doesn't really want to process that, doesn't want to realize it's over, and it's really sad. There's a part of me that doesn't want to cry about it, even though the other part of me is like, I just feel like crying about it. It is kind of sad, and I know that once I cry about it, it'll help, because then I'll go through the emotions and then come out the other side and see the other opportunities I have now. So I think there's just a lot of those sort of fear thoughts and the unknown, which is just scary because it's something I can't control. So the future, the fact that the future is kind of unclear, I don't know what I'm going to be doing after Christmas. I have certain ideas, I have certain things I want to do, but still I don't really know, and I don't have this job anymore, and I don't know what it's going to be like here with Dad alone and without my family. I don't know if I'll feel quite lonely, or if I'll miss it, or if I want to go back to Ireland because most of my family is there. So there's just a lot I don't know, and as you all know, that's something that scares me. So yesterday evening I noticed that as well. Like, I'm probably feeling this fragile and feeling very dramatic feelings because I have these other things going on in my subconscious mind as well, which is, quite a lot, honestly, quite a few things. So it's understandable why I feel more fragile and so on. And obviously I'll keep working on it until I can just feel like I can manage everything. I did it before. I felt that way before. I managed to build myself up to that point before. I can do it again, and this time I can make it last, because I'll know the steps that I took. I'll know the skills that I have now learned. In the past, it kind of just happened. Like, no, it didn't happen. I was totally working towards it, but still, I wasn't really aware that I was building myself up to feel like I can handle everything. Now I'm aware of what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm excited for that point. At some point, I'm going to make a video. I'm like, guys, I have done it. And there was just this weird thought, like, maybe at some point, there won't ever come another video because I committed suicide. Okay, like, look at where I'm letting my thoughts go. Come on, Leona, you can handle this. You did it before. It's not as bad as it seems. The way it seems doesn't mean that it's actually a fact. Yeah, okay, let's keep going. Thank you for watching. Yeah, I don't know if I really concluded that. Yeah, after that happened with Dad, I went to work and I was a bit distracted with work. Afterwards, I kind of went back to those thoughts though, like about what I was thinking about on the roof terrace after what Dad said. So yeah, and that was yesterday evening only, and then I kind of sent my friend a voice message, and he sent a couple texts back which I know were meant in a nice way, but they just weren't really helpful. They weren't, the direction that I was going in. So that kind of disappointed me as well, because I obviously texted him because I was like, okay, this might help me. I was trying to help myself, but really it didn't help that much. But anyway, it's fine. We'll keep going. That's why I'm making a video, because I want to try and help myself this way. And my daily challenge for today is to talk to Mom. So maybe I can talk to her about some few things that are a bit unclear in my mind or whatever. Yeah, I'm trying, and I'll keep trying. And the thing is, it is possible to live a thriving life. It is possible to feel like you can handle everything. It is possible, and there is a solution to everything. To every problem, there is a solution, or else the problem wouldn't exist. And just because the solution, you can't see the solution, doesn't mean it's not there, because it is, or else the problem wouldn't exist. So keep going, don't give up, take care, and until the next time, bye.